It is 2025 and we are leaving behind the things that no longer serves us. Vamos a cerrar ciclos. We are leaving behind mindsets, behavior patterns, and we're breaking cycles. And this is a year where we are going to do a glow up from the inside out. We're going to heal, we're going to grow, we're going to manifest a soft life where you can ease into your feminine energy, where you can feel a sense of purpose, fulfillment, and more aligned to your true self, to the best version of you. So today we're diving deep into the challenges that hold us back as first-gen Latinas, and most importantly, how to overcome them. Hola everybody, welcome back. I'm Cynthia Flores, host of the Heal and Manifest podcast. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist dedicated to supporting first-gen Latinas to heal, to break cycles, and really to build a life of purpose, cultivating a healthy relationship starting with yourself and with others. So let's dive in. So what are the ins and outs of 2025? Let's get started. Out for sure to start, hustle culture. We are leaving hustle culture behind. It doesn't serve us. It doesn't make any purpose in our lives. And we are inviting in going in our own rhythm. I know that a lot of Latinas, women of color, many of us grew up in believing that we had to grind nonstop to succeed. Of course, we understand that this is the immigration narratives and stories from a lot of our parents, knowing that we are sometimes first-gen Latinas, second-gen Latinas, or women of color. Oftentimes, this is a limiting belief that is implanted in how we navigate the world, how we navigate our careers. So hustle culture, it's kind of in our DNA. There's nothing wrong with putting all of the efforts into your dream projects, into your business, into whatever is it that you're doing, but also slowing down, going within and listening to our body. So this year we're leaving behind the sense of urgency and the pressure to, going, pretty much chingarle all the time, right? So instead, we're embracing a slower, more intentional pace, following our rhythm, taking breaks, resting when our body is really needing to rest, and really listening to that. It's trusting that everything is unfolding in divine timing. So remember that you are exactly where you need to be. And this is something that I have to personally remind myself, because I know as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is doing my own thing, I also have to slow down and remind myself, like, I know I can take so much. I know that I was built on resiliency, but that doesn't have to be my go-to all the time. I also have to learn to listen to my body, to listen, hey, something's not feeling good. I'm having some aches and pains. What is my body trying to tell me? So listening to your body, slowing down, resting, taking breaks, easing into softness, into that feminine energy that we don't know how to be in sometimes. 2 is we are not operating on survival mode. We're not doing that, baby girl. Okay. And what we are inviting in is that we are cultivating self-awareness. We are cultivating self-awareness on maybe the repeated cycles, the patterns that we observe, not only in our actions and our behaviors, but in our thoughts. Some of our thoughts become habits. This is where the overthinking, the being overly analytical, the being just in your brain, in your head, and not in your body. So it's really about understanding what comes up for you and cultivating that self-awareness, and also understanding what is your relationship to your personal habits. These patterns oftentimes feel unfamiliar. So I do think that we need to really stop, reflect, listen, sit with ourselves, doing a check-in, understanding our triggers, really getting to know what are the recurring maybe thought patterns or situations in our environment that are triggering maybe certain trauma responses, and then asking ourselves, what is it that I'm feeling? What is it that's coming up for me? Where have I felt this before in the past? How can I self-soothe? How can I self-regulate? How can I come back to me to take care of my needs? We're no longer operating in survival mode and autopilot. We're listening to ourselves, and it starts with slowing down, with the self-awareness. And I think asking yourself when you are triggered, say in a situation that you are triggered, is this mine or is this something, maybe an inherited limiting belief? How do I then shift it? How do I reframe it so that way when this comes up, I can honor my feelings first and foremost, and I can shift and reframe the way that maybe I'm thinking about this situation. So that way it doesn't feel like it's attacking me, maybe attacking your body in terms of like your nervous system either shutting down or going on this fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode. So number 3, what is coming out is ignoring our body signals, as I mentioned, and what we are inviting in is we are listening to our body. We are no longer ignoring what our body is telling us, what it's literally screaming out to us. If we are, whether feeling burnout or exhaustion or tension in our body, and we don't know what it is, but we're like, where is this coming from? What is it that I'm going through? What stressful situation is it that I'm going through in this moment that's maybe causing these maybe somatic responses? Because you know what? At the end of the day, our body does keep the score. And this is something that I've been telling a lot of my clients that, we have learned, mujeres, women, Latinas, first gen, to ignore our body. And what ends up happening, but that knowing that it's all connected, our mind, body, spirit, and also our emotions. Oftentimes, our emotional body is manifesting certain reactions or responses to the stressors that you have in your environment, to your relationship dynamics. Say you're in a very much toxic relationship where your needs are not met, where you are not heard, where you are not seen, where you're not validated, when you're constantly gaslighted, when you are constantly being compared or being told you're not good enough. There's all of these expectations about who you should be, how you should be and show up in your relationship, in your family. And then somehow we understand that that is going to have a significant impact in your body. We don't really notice that because we're so disconnected. We oftentimes want to find solutions outwardly, but we don't know that our body is being impacted. So what happens? We start getting sick, our immune system starts getting lower, we start having autoimmune conditions, our hair starts falling, our skin starts breaking out, we start maybe either losing weight or gaining weight. We don't sleep well. We start having insomnia. We start having panic attacks. This is our body literally screaming like something is wrong here and I need to take care of my body signals. I need to listen to my body and take care of myself, because if I don't, my body will tell me what's up. My body will tell me, hey, you got to slow down. So I would say tips is to check in with yourself regularly. Make it a habit to do that, either in the morning, in the middle of the day, at night, right? Whatever is it that works for you, doing that is going to be getting you, and it's going to get you into the habit of checking in with yourself and seeing what is it that I need in this moment to take care of my needs. Also resting when you're tired, hydrating, pausing, taking breaks. So these are important things that we are inviting in this 2025. 4, what's got to go out is unrealistic goals and expectations. Okay. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Okay. What we are inviting in is living with intention. And I know that a lot of us grow up in environments where, especially as mujeres, it's glorified to self-sacrifice. It's so glorified to give to others and overgive and hustle and not give back to ourselves. So if we don't listen to our bodies and prioritize ourselves, if we don't listen to our needs, if we don't listen to that inner voice, that intuition of like, hey, something doesn't feel, then how are we going to know? And when it comes to unrealistic expectations, oftentimes we set unrealistic expectations, or we set expectations based on what others want for us. Say our parents want what they want for us. So they want us to get into a job or a career that maybe doesn't really quite align with us. Or maybe there's expectations in romantic relationships where you're expected to follow this very traditional gender role or norm that you realize, I've already healed and unpacked that, and I'm already going through my own healing process, and this doesn't serve me. So it's really about figuring out for you what are the unrealistic goals and expectations that you are setting for yourself. And quite frankly, ask yourself, is this really my expectation? Is this really my goal? Is something that I'm learning, that I'm hearing from the outside and not from me? So that's a big one that we are not doing this 2025, and we're living more with intention, with aligned action, understanding your purpose. And honestly, sometimes our purpose is just figuring it out as we rediscover ourselves, but also in doing things that maybe feel good, and that is aligning with purpose, aligning with what are my values, what are the things that, the dreams that I've always thought of that I wanted to do and to follow. Thinking about that. How can you be of service, not only for yourself, but also for the world, for others? What are my gifts? What are things that I'm good at that I can contribute? What are my strengths and qualities? And I know that sometimes this can be really hard to figure out, but just really starting, what am I good at? Starting with, what am I good at? How can I contribute? How can I give back to society, to the world with what I am good at? That's, I think, where you also can find a sense of purpose and a sense of fulfillment. Number 5. So out negative self-talk. We are not entertaining that negative self-talk, that inner critic that you have in your thoughts. We know that this comes from a pattern. You learned it. It's a cognitive distortion. It's an unhelpful thinking pattern because that's how you survived. Maybe these are things that you heard from either your mom or your dad or your family, whoever, your relationships, and somehow you internalize this hateful critic inner voice. But no, I think where do we start is by being kind with ourselves, giving ourselves grace, giving ourselves compassion, reminding yourself of your humanity, that you are only human, and that having a growth mindset. And what does that entail? Having a growth mindset is reminding yourself, like, hey, I am learning to give myself more patience, more self-love, more grace. I'm learning to reframe or understand where maybe this negative self-talk comes from. I am learning where this pattern comes from. And I'm also breaking this cycle and pattern by giving myself love, maybe giving my inner niña, my adult self, the love, the validation, the attention, the care that I was probably not given. So it's really starting with that. And it's also replacing that judgment with more neutral thoughts, more neutral or positive. Sometimes I go to neutral because sometimes it's really hard to get to that point of like, I fully believe that this is true. Starting small, starting by reframing. I think reframing is a really, really powerful tool. For instance, say you're doing a project and you didn't get the results that you wanted. So instead of saying, oh, I didn't meet this goal, or I failed, I'm such a failure, really try saying, well, what am I learning through this experience? How can I grow through this experience? What can I take with the lessons that I'm taking, that I learned from this maybe experience, this lesson, and take it on to the next time I try? So it's not so much staying so like hooked into this fixed mindset, because fixed mindset, it's all about negativity, negative bias, everything is going wrong. We understand that this is also a trauma response. It's a habit, is a pattern, but part of breaking it is shifting it to, okay, I give myself grace. It's okay. I can do better next time. I can maybe try to do differently next time. That's how we break that. If you are in Los Angeles, I will be co-facilitating the Self-Love Revolution along with Norma Garcia. She is also a licensed clinical social worker, a breakup coach, Reiki, and sound practitioner. We will be hosting Self-Love Revolution. This is an empowering mind, body, and soul experience designed for Latinas and women of color to awaken their power and embrace their self-love journey. This is going to be Saturday, February 22nd from 11 to 2:30 p.m. at the Peter Performance Space. We are going to be doing ground exercises such as calming meditation, sound bath, a live panel podcast with the Heal and Manifest podcast, and embodiment movement. And it's going to be amazing. So if you are there, go into the details. I will put it down here for you to purchase the Eventbrite ticket and share it with your amigas, your loved ones, anyone who is in the LA area. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Point 6. What is coming out? That thought, that narrative that you are falling behind. Se te va a ir el tren, se me va a ir el tren. ¿Qué está pasando? Tengo que, la urgencia, and the sense of urgency. That's coming out in the trash. What we are inviting in is believing that we are exactly where we need to be, that we are that divine timing, that we are exactly where we need to be, that we don't need to be in a rush. Why are we rushing? Who are we comparing ourselves with? The person that has all of these things that maybe you want, or is in their career where you want, or is in the quote unquote perfect relationship or relationship, and you're out here comparing yourself, or that person that maybe has a family and a child and is doing all these things. Why are you doing that to yourself? Don't do that. So that's coming out, and we are remembering. So first of all, raise your hand if you felt behind in life. We know that this comes from the expectations, the societal expectations, the family expectations, the cultural, expectations, that they don't really come from us. That fear, que se me va a ir el tren, that we're running late for some, invisible timeline. This is all societal pressures, and we're not doing that. So this year, I want to invite you to invite in this affirmation. I am exactly where I need to be, and this time is unfolding perfectly. I trust my process. I trust my journey. I don't need to be in a rush. So that's what we're reminding ourselves. Write that down and remind yourself that. 7 is external validation. We're not going to be seeking external validation to somehow validate your sense of worth. What we are inviting in is the belief that we are inherently worthy. We don't need to seek out our worth or that validation from others, that we know that worth is within us. And even though you may not know or you may not see it, we are in the process of finding it. We are in the process of rediscovering ourselves. We are in the process of reframing, understanding our story, shifting, breaking cycles, reclaiming, giving ourselves permission to do things differently, to think differently. We're done giving others the power to define our worth, whether it's family, partner, society, because that our worth is not based on what other people think about us. Our worth is who we believe we are, who we truly are, who are our true selves. And that is with who we are in our character, como somos como personas, nuestros valores, our self-integrity, our self-love, our self-respect, our dreams, the manifestations that we want to bring to life. You get to redefine that. Nobody else gets to do that. So stop giving your power away. Number 8, now this 2025 is suppressing emotions. We're no longer doing that. And we are inviting in communicating our needs and setting boundaries. I know that the cultural norms often encourage Latinas to prioritize. Si no lo expresas, te inflamas. This is a meme that is in my head because I know I've learned and I'm learning to apply that every time I like suppress my emotions because of, guilt and shame and whatnot. We're no longer doing that. We are processing our emotions. We are giving ourselves space to do that. Okay. And we're no longer staying calladitas. Okay. So to challenge you is really to help you think through identify what are my needs? How am I feeling? What is making me feel this way? How is my body reacting or responding? How do I self-soothe? How do I calm myself? What do I need to communicate? What is important for me right now? What is this anger? What is this fear? What is this grief telling me about the situation, about me? What can I do to take care of myself right now? What do I need to communicate that needs to come out? Right. Oftentimes, I tell my clients, let's practice I statements. Let's practice communicating your needs and setting boundaries. Let's role play. I often, I think that that's kind of like an awkward moment situation, but I love role playing. Like, put yourself in a mirror, record yourself, encourage you to do that, and using I statements. For example, I feel overwhelmed when I'm left to handle everything. Right? I appreciate more help in doing XYZ, right? Practicing in safe spaces first, practicing with people that you feel safe and you feel comfortable so you can start building your confidence in advocating for yourself. And this is not only in your relationships and your family, this is also in your work, because if you don't advocate for yourself, nobody else will. You are your best advocate, your best friend in these instances. And you need to show up for yourself. Number 9, last but not least, relationships. What is coming out is toxic, dysfunctional relationship dynamics. The ones that are not sure about you, pa fuera. We're not giving them the time, the energy for that. We're not doing that. We are going to walk in alignment with the best version of ourselves, with who we are, with what we want for ourselves. We are, leveling up our standards, our self-love, our self-worth, and we are not allowing toxic, dysfunctional people in our lives. And I'm not saying to go ahead and cut people off and cut everyone. I'm not saying that. I think that there's such, you know yourself, you know your relationships, you know what feels, you know what doesn't feel. I think at the end of the day, have to figure out, well, I cannot cut this person. Maybe I cannot cut my mother or my father, even though they're narcissistic or toxic and they don't bring anything. Whatever situation that you're going through is figuring out, how can you protect yourself first and foremost? How can you set emotional, physical boundaries to take care of your needs? That could be having minimal contact or no contact at all or whatnot. So that's the family dynamics. When it comes to romantic relationships, we're not allowing toxicity be part of our environment, of our energy. We're also questioning and challenging some of the limiting beliefs that we've been told about love, about relationships, which I will be doing a series on Instagram and TikTok. I want you to go ahead and follow me there so you can learn more about that. And we are really becoming more aware of trauma bonds, of our attachment styles, and also setting boundaries. Like, what is it that feels good? What is it that doesn't feel good? Really honoring your needs, honoring your feelings, and staying true to you. That's what we're doing. I will be putting out a freebie soon, and it's around getting clarity, whether you should stay or you should go or leave a relationship. And of course, this is a decision and a choice that you make based on what aligns with you. But I will be providing more clarity, and this is going to be a freebie. So also follow my socials, and it's going to be here for you to learn more, for you to process your feelings and then see where you're at. Okay. And I would say I would also like you to go watch another episode called 15 Signs You're in a Trauma Bond Relationship and see if that resonates. It will be here. I will leave it in the link below. I would like you to focus on really healing, first and foremost, your relationship with yourself. Value yourself, love yourself, and pour back into you. And then also, when you do that, know that you are going to be aligning with people that are good for you. All right, everyone, these are the ins and outs of 2025. If you liked this episode, go ahead and follow me, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on all platforms, Spotify. I am also on social media, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and let's make 2025 the year where we glow up from the inside out. Okay, we're going to break cycles. We're going to set boundaries. We're going to show up for ourselves. We are going to give love to ourselves, and we are going to have a great year. Set realistic expectations for yourselves, and don't forget to comment below. If you want to see any particular episode or topic, let me know, and I will see you on the next episode. I hope to see you in Self Love Revolucion in February, and we'll see you soon. Bye.